I have been waiting for it.
What the hell? Is that video game Donkey?
What? No, it's me, mrmeatman.
Oh, wait. I just remembered. What happened to YouTube?
X, while you were making your school live review, you didn't notice, but the universe got erased, and now we moved to a new universe. A universe where YouTube does not exist.
Oh, so that's why YouTube creator support hasn't been replying to my emails or tweets.
Correct. In order to restore the old timeline, you need to remember and look over all the anime you saw in 2018. That will create a paradox, crumbling this timeline and should return us back to our original universe.
All the anime?
Yes, Falchion. All the anime, including Darling in the Franxx.
But Falchion, why should I listen to your opinion? You're dumb. Well, actually, I'm a genius, so fuck you. Of course this is obvious, but this list is all my personal opinion. Of course I'm gonna be a bit biased here and there. I have my own personal preferences. For example, you're going to find that I prefer or can find the value much easier an anime that's more cartoony with exaggerated animation and or an abstract wacky art style over animation that tries to be semi-realistic. That's just one example. Really, this is just supposed to be a retrospective of all the shows I saw this year with my thoughts on each show. Not every placement is set in stone, and I'm not even sure about them. Speaking of biases, I will not be including the first score of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind in here because, it's special. I can't really place it anywhere here. It won't be on the list, but just know that I think it's David Productions' best adaptation so far, being held back only by pacing that I think can still be a little too slow for my taste, and not being as fun as Stardust Crusaders or Diamond is Unbreakable, well that's a fault of the original manga. Still though, it's an excellent manga to anime adaptation and one of the best I've seen at doing so. If I'm gonna talk about it, I want to do it in a separate video. 2018 has had way too many awesome anime, and I've not seen all of them obviously. In fact, looking on the list, it feels like I missed out on a lot. Sorry guys, I haven't seen the one I love as a little sister, but she's not my little sister.
Get on with the video already. It's cold out here.
But Falchion, he said he was sorry. Okay, first off, I just want to say I'm sorry, everyone. I really wanted to go against the tide of hate against Sword Art Online, but this is not helping. Before this season came out, everyone was hyping it up to be the best Sword Art Online has ever been, and I honestly was on board with the okay first episode. Honestly, I was getting kind of sick of the Sword Art Online hate, and I was ready to, you know, put aside my differences and become a Sonic fan.
But now he's back, and we're ready to love him again.
But goddamn, is it boring? There are so many scenes of sitting there and talking.
彼はどんな様子なんだ？
新川君は、落ち着いてきたみたい。もう少ししたらまた面会に。
But hey, I've never read the light novel, maybe it works better there, but I just can't find this to be interesting. We have no way of actually telling the budget, but from the smooth animation and huge popularity of the series, Alicization clearly has a pretty big animation budget, but it's so visually uninteresting. But Falchion, isn't that your own personal preference? You said you just prefer wacky animation. Yeah, but even anime that strives to be more realistic has some interesting shots. The shots in here are just boring. I did like this handshake from the opening though. Sword Art Online tries so hard to be edgy and dramatic, but just has some of the cheesiest and laziest writing ever, resulting in just, I don't know, I hate this word, but I'm gonna go with cringe. You thought we were just normal kids, but actually we're evil and we kill things, haha. Actually, I already figured it out. No. You know how? It's because kids aren't normally supposed to be here. Oh my god, you're actually a lady. That's right, I'm indeed a female. Well, I won't hold back just because you're a lady. Yep, I'm a lady that fights. Then, why do you comb your hair and apply color to your lip? That's right, my name is Kirito, and I'm gonna do justice, so ladies like you can love and live normal lives. Alright, can I do a backflip? Yes, I can. Oh, never mind. They're trying to make me a little less overpowered. Okay, Kirito, it's my turn to pretend to be a good character. Who the fuck are you? I'm gonna scream for a little bit.
Falchion, look out! There's a goblin behind you!
Oh, it's just a tiny little goblin, baby. What harm could it do?
We have to run now!
But Falchion, the manga is better. Goblin Slayer was an anime that I was ready to get into from the first episode due to its hook, but it just became boring and nothing really happened.
What happened, Sonic? Nothing happened. Literally.
The first episode wasn't exactly a masterpiece, but it did try to set the tone and set itself apart from other anime. They just fight goblins, it doesn't explore any deep themes at all, it doesn't have an interesting story, it's just another fantasy anime that's just a bit more gory, and I know it's in the title, but goddamn. The animation is boring, even going for CGI at some points, and the art style is nothing new, it just looks like any other fantasy anime. It tries to be dark and just ends up as a boring grey splotch on the wall. Also, this is just another one of my personal biases, but I'm getting really sick of mediocre fantasy anime. I'm ready for something actually new. I gave Goblin Slayer a shot expecting that and was disappointed. I heard the manga's better, especially the art, but after watching this anime I'm not exactly in a rush to pick it up. Alright, I'm a big fan of the Pop Team Epic manga, but some things just aren't meant to be anime. But anyway, it's a shitpost anime, who cares? Moving on. Whoa, what's happening? Whoa.
Oh, great job, Falchion. By not liking the Pop Team Epic anime, you just took us to the beta timeline. You just took us from the beta out. You just took us from the beta timeline to the alpha timeline. Here, YouTube exists. But PewDiePie got banned for saying the N-word. And now the whole world has gone into a state of anarchy.
Well, at least we escaped the goblins. I know I'm in the minority here, but I found Steins Gate Zero to be really underwhelming. I'm a fan of the original Steins Gate visual novel and anime. I and many others have been waiting forever for a PC release of the visual novel and the anime. And this year it finally came. Yes, I have read the visual novel, and while I think it's better structured, it's still not up to par. Here's why I personally think this. Simply put, Steins Gate has a plot. Steins Gate Zero has not.
Nothing happened. Literally.
I really like the storyline for the original Steins Gate because in hindsight it's a very simple plot with a clear direction. In Steins Gate Zero, however, the story follows a very weird pattern. It's way too convoluted and tries to explain things about the original story that really did not need any explaining. We don't need to know everything about how this stuff works, and all the attempts to explain how it does just ends up with more questions. If Steins Gate is mac and cheese, then Steins Gate Zero is the nutritional facts with half the letters missing for a different brand of mac and cheese. From an alternate timeline. I don't really like this attempted darker tone from Steins Gate Zero. In Steins Gate Zero, the whole backdrop is established as dark and hopeless, and Akabe is so depressed and life sucks, and they just keep shoving in your face over and over. The plot is pretty non-existent, the world building is in my opinion convoluted and unnecessary, and as a character study it doesn't work well either. Like I said, Okabe just gets annoying to watch now, and he feels just more 2D than he used to be. But I also didn't really find myself liking many of the new characters in Steins Gate Zero. Besides Maho, they didn't really feel necessary, and their arcs felt really shallow. There's a new character named Kagri, for example, who is Mayuri's adopted daughter from the future, and I really didn't like this character, guys, I'll be honest. All the interest with her came from wanting to know what happened to her while she was missing, and I was just left unsatisfied with the answers. In fact, I'm unsatisfied with all the answers Steins Gate Zero tries to give us. I just think Steins Gate Zero was unneeded, didn't really have a story to tell on its own. It tries to explain the Steins Gate lore in more detail, but it's just way too convoluted, and at most just isn't interesting, with the protagonist whose constant states of depression just got annoying and repetitive, and with characters that I thought would be interesting but just don't have strong arcs.
X, you gotta help me.
What the hell happened to you?
I have become a meat slime, which is like a slime, but it's made out of meat, you know, instead of slime.
What do you want me to do about it?
You gotta let me eat you so that I can transform into a meat version of you.
Wait,
Come
no,
on,
get off of me.
Come
get
on,
off of
let
me.
me vor you.
Okay, Falchion clearly is getting sick of fantasy anime. He's obviously gonna rag on this one. Well, you're right, I am gonna rag on it. I picked up Slime with the expectation of finding something unique. So far though, I think I'm just finding Slime to be just another fantasy anime with an overpowered protagonist. I mean, holy hell, is this protagonist powerful and able to get anyone to suck his slimy dick. Rimuru Tempest is just not an interesting enough protagonist to warrant being overpowered to this level. The comedy of being reincarnated as a slime is the initial selling point, and I was expecting it to have a bit more comedy, but it just doesn't, leaving the tone just kind of bland and boring. However, I'm gonna give this one a pass because it attempts some world building here. that is actually the main focus of the show, and that's pretty nice. It's no Log Horizon though, and I didn't even like Log Horizon. This is clearly weighted heavily down due to my own personal preferences and personal experience, but Slime just isn't interesting enough to me. If you do like fantasy isekai anime though, this is one of the better ones. Well, here we go, Bungo Stray Dogs Dead Apple, the most anticipated movie of the year. What? What's going on?
Amazing analysis of the nature of Bundo Stray Dogs, X Falchion. I can feel the next dimensional merge coming right now.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Where are we?
X Falchion. Welcome to space. This is the same as the original universe, but with a difference. YouTube in this universe was actually an alien infiltration of human society. And also every computer is actually made of alien, and every video editing software was created by alien businessmen, which is why they are so expensive. Also, YouTube doesn't answer customer support because the female's lost in the space mail.
Wait, weren't you a meat slime? What happened?
It does that doesn't matter. It's about aliens now.
Well, I actually think I like the parts of this anime that many others didn't though, and vice versa. I couldn't really get into Zero Two and Hero's romance. I didn't find it that interesting. The first half is a pretty solid show. I actually did like the drama involving Ichigo, and I was one of the few that thought that episode where Ichigo tries to kiss Hiro was the best in the whole show. The second half though is where things get a bit controversial and messy. There's no doubt that the ending feels rushed. I mean, what the hell is this? I did actually like the Kokoro meets Zero arc in the show a little bit. I think it was a step in the right direction, but the characters just weren't interesting enough to carry it. Also, speaking of that, Zero 2 just becomes boring after episode 15. She has a big shift in personality, which I get was intentional, and the show is trying to shift the focus away from her for a bit, but she's just boring now. Darling in the Franxx is an action drama set in the world of an action comedy and just feels like a mess that doesn't know what it wants to be or where it's going, and the final episode with the giant Zero 2 is fucking hilarious. I actually have a little bit more to say about Darling in the Franxx, but I'll save that until later in the video. Alright, here we go baby, My Hero Academia 2 Heroes, the second most anticipated movie of the year. This movie is pretty generic and unspectacular, to be honest. I went to see it with a friend, and the funnest part about it was watching one of my friends playing Galga at the arcade. Nothing really happens. The plot is pretty uninteresting and the animation is nothing special. It just looks like the show, to be honest. It isn't really movie tier. I expected some character interactions, but the characters really just don't do anything with each other. The final battle is fucking terrible, to be honest. It's just flashy with not much to it. If you're a fan of My Hero Academia, it's hard for me to even recommend this to you, since if you like the characters, you're not gonna get many fun interactions here, and if you like the tone and story of My Hero Academia, you're just gonna get what feels like some shoddy imitation. It's not terrible or even bad, it's just so that I can't really recommend it. X Falchion, the title of this show is Bunny Girl Senpai, but don't let that throw you off. It's actually unexpectedly good, X Falchion. I guess we learned today that you should judge a book by its cover. Wait, what do you mean I'm the 50th person to tell you that? This rom-com drama show takes a sort of monster of the week formula with the main character helping a different girl each episode or two. Each arc explores a different pressure of adolescent life that I thought was really interesting. The main character Sakata is a hit or miss. He's a snarky guy that, quote, can read the atmosphere but chooses to ignore it, end quote. This type of character can so easily be done badly, but surprisingly, it's hard to not like Sakata. He has good chemistry with the other characters, and despite his deadpan attitude, he's actually a pretty caring guy that's hard to dislike. I thought the anime did a solid job at fleshing out each character's arc, and in turn strengthening his own. Now, I didn't think this was a masterpiece by any means, like many others did, but it's a very quality rom-com drama. I just think it wasn't for me.
It really isn't about aliens.
What? What is it?
Nothing. I was just thinking about how funny this would be if everything about this video was the same except we were zombies now.
What?
What?
While I am a fan of anime idols, I'm not a huge fan of idol anime. We know the outline by this point, we know how every idol anime works. Each idol has their own quirks and little moments, pretty much designed so you just pick a best girl and buy all their merch. Zombieland starts off as undoubtedly a parody and possibly a deconstruction of this genre. I mean, every single thing established is making fun of idol anime tropes, but it kinda slowly just becomes an idol anime. Surprisingly though, the shift from parody to becoming the thing it's parodying is not distracting at all, and it's actually genius. What it is a trap. It tricks you by laughing with you and making you think all the tropes are stupid, and then keeping you locked in as you slowly realize that you're just enjoying an idol anime. It's like ironically going to Applebee's and then realizing, wait, I'm just going to Applebee's.
I'm here with our trends expert, Carol Logan, and we're talking about a really interesting new ad campaign from Applebee's, which is encouraging customers to visit the restaurant ironically.
We could go to Applebee's. No, let's seriously go to Applebee's.
Zombieland Saga is kind of different to other idol anime, but it's probably the only idol anime I've seen so far that actually stands out really well as its own show. It's genuinely funny with some characters that start off as caricatures and jokes, but slowly turn into characters with actually well done backstories. Not you though, who are you? Any idol anime can make you like characters for their quirks, it's kind of what you do, but Zombieland Saga goes a little bit above and beyond. Well, it does have some CGI in the dances. Performances here aren't very good, and usually the performances are the best parts of idol anime. However, the opening for this show is really fucking awesome. It's probably one of the best this year. When I saw Zombieland Saga on Crunchyroll's nominees for Anime of the Year, I thought, what the fuck are you thinking, you absolute fucking lunatics? But thinking about it more, Zombieland Saga definitely deserves a pat on the back for being unexpectedly good. I still don't think it's a contender for Best Anime of the Year, but I definitely see where people are coming from, and I am awaiting the inevitable second season of this surprise hit.
Falchion, look behind you! It's a giant monster from space walking behind you! Fuck!
Get ready, Mr. Meatman. We're gonna have to fight them.
No, Falchion. We're gonna have to save it for next year.
What?
We're saving it for next year, folks. We already spent all the animation budget for this year alone. You know how much that was? Don't ask.
Attack on Titan was mainstream as hell when the first season came out, but I guess a lot of people just stopped caring about Attack on Titan. This is where the story kind of takes a different road and tries to go down the political thriller route, and it actually does it quite well. This is a very different season of Attack on Titan. This season isn't really focused at all on attacking Titans, and goes deeper into the lore and politics of the world. It's mostly focused on world building, and there's some more grounded character development for characters like Historia and Levi, and some good setup for characters like Eren. I remember when everyone was ragging on Attack on Titan for having an uninteresting protagonist in Eren who just screams and wants to fight Titans, and while that is how he is initially presented, I and many others don't find him uninteresting anymore at all. Attack on Titan starts showing the flaws in Eren's mentality. There's some depth to his character that the show started exploring last season. I'm happy to say Eren is gradually getting more and more complicated as a character, and it's actually ridiculous what the manga is doing right now with his character to an almost controversial point, but I don't want to spoil it. There is CGI for some Titans, but come the fuck on, people, the animation is still fucking amazing. I mean, look at this. What is this? This is actually legendary. I know some of the CGI can be distracting, but put your pants on. I read the manga and I'm waiting on season 4, or I guess season 3 part 2, where there's a fight that goes on at Shiganshina that I thought was particularly impressive when I read it. While this season has some attacking on Titans of its own, it very much serves as the calm before the storm for that fight. I have no doubt that the anime will do it justice, and it's gonna be legendary. I am alone on this, I know I am, but Chunibyo Take On Me was a seriously nice movie and wrap up for anyone that was a follower of the Chunibyo show. Guys, it's Kill Annie. The animation is way top notch in Moe. The reason I like this movie is really simple. It's cute and funny. And it's really good at being that. It doesn't do anything different or notably subversive, it's really simple, but I'm a simple guy. It's a road trip movie that just gives us some fun moments. It's obviously a movie for people that already like Chunibyo. It just does all the best parts of the show but better. If you never liked the characters before, you're probably not gonna like this one, but goddamn, this is peak Chunibyo. This is peak Kyoto Animation Moe rom-com anime. Watching this movie just put a big smile on my face, that's all. I'm gonna say what most other people already have. Hero Academia is a shonen, but that's not bad. It's really good at doing what a shonen does. It pumps you up by giving you hype fights and inspiring messages. Sure, every once in a while you get a mediocre fight scene or some comedy that doesn't sit quite well. I didn't really enjoy the first half of this season at the training camp, and I didn't really enjoy some of the fights in the provisional license arc. But this season of Hero Academia has not one, but 2 fights that I found to be damn near perfect for a good shonen fight. All Might vs. All for One is intense, with huge stakes at play for not just All Might's character, but the whole world the story takes place in. But more than All Might, I was particularly impressed with Bakugo's character this season. This season, Bakugo took a lot of the spotlight with some much needed character development, and it's as soon as he gets kidnapped by the League of Villains that the story started to get really interesting to me. There's a lot of build up, so when Bakugo finally lets it all out in his fight against Deku, it's very satisfying to see. I'm gonna have to say that I'm actually not sure whether I like this fight or the All for One fight better. If My Hero Academia is the next big shonen, it definitely deserves it. It's everything a shonen needs to be. And while it takes until season 2 to pick up in my opinion, this is definitely a show you won't want to miss out on. Gridman is a show that, despite being a Trigger show, had pretty much no eyes on it when it first started until something happened. I don't know what happened.
Don't tell me foot jobs all day! Oh,
Gridman is very much a show that you either get or you don't get. Trigger is a studio full of staff of television fans, and almost all their projects so far pay tribute in an attempt to capture the feeling of older media. You can see it in Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, hell, I'd even say Atsushi Nishigori's Darling in the Franxx is definitely one, though in many people's eyes it does it a bit poorly. That's why even though Darling in the Franxx is mostly an A1 Pictures production, it feels like a Trigger show. It's a tribute in the way most other Trigger productions are. Trigger has always been about capturing what people loved about those old productions and making us feel like kids again, even if you never watched the original media the shows are tributing. Now, ssss.gridman is very much an homage to tokusatsu and is meant for people that are already fans of that genre. Almost everything here is a reference to something. I was particularly impressed by the fight scenes, even though they're in CGI. Tokusatsu fans will be happy to find that not only do they pay homage through references, they capture the feel of an authentic Toku fight, even going so far as to emulate practical and special effects. Mother's Basement has made an excellent video on this if you want to see this more in depth. I was even more surprised, however, to see that not only does the show capture the feel of Toku fight scenes, but also the more down-to-earth school scenes. I'm not gonna pretend to be some Toku superfan, hell, the only one I've actually gotten and watched the whole way through is Kamen Rider Forze, but I have to say, Gridman captures the high school kid protagonist feel very well. But more than that, it chooses to emphasize that feeling of underlying mystery, known for keeping you waiting to uncover more in Monster of the Week shows. Sure, Gridman has a nice soundtrack, but many of the best scenes are the ones that exploit the lack of music and have uncomfortable, suspenseful shots. The tone the show chooses to take is actually pretty genius, and it's pretty satisfying when the twists involving the world that the kids live in and the antagonist Akane come to the forefront. Gridman has been popularly described as a mix between Saturday morning tokusatsu and late night anime. I think that's an accurate description. What makes a good tribute is not constantly referencing the original media, but capturing that original feeling, emphasizing and doing something interesting with the best parts. It's what Franxx fails to do, and Gridman does exceptionally well. Gridman was surprisingly impressive even for me, who isn't a huge Toku fan. It's admittedly a show that will either resonate with you, or you just won't get. This show definitely deserves more love though, and I don't think it's Anime of the Year material, but it achieves exactly what it sets out to do, and it takes the spot for my third favorite anime this year. Gridman is the Darling in the Franxx that you wanted. If you missed out on it last year, I definitely recommend going back and checking it out.
Is it true that demons really don't have hearts? Actually, they do have hearts. What they don't have is any form of conscience that allows them to care about others. This is the truth of a demon. find those who harbor dissatisfaction with the world, and then eradicate them before they become demons.
Devilman Crybaby was a surprise for me and many others when it came out. I was a bit apprehensive at first seeing that it was really gory, but actually I really liked it and I'm going to have to confidently put it as number 2 on my list. Devilman Crybaby's aesthetic is wacky, crazy, tragic, disgusting, and cool. Devilman Crybaby is violent, which will make this anime a huge hit or miss with people, but being super violent isn't always a bad thing if the story, art, and our music is interesting. And I'm gonna have to say Devilman Crybaby delivers on all fronts. It's hard to really justify your gore and violence. Something like the Goblin Slayer anime tries to be something like Devilman Crybaby, but lacks all of these factors and ends up just being boring. Admittedly, the story takes a bit to pick up. It simulates more of a Monster of the Week format in the first half, but by episode 6, I just couldn't put this thing down. Now granted, Devilman Crybaby is only 10 episodes, but I think within that time frame, Crybaby does a good job at establishing the contrast between the two main characters, and when they start to work against each other, it's interesting to see. Devilman Crybaby has an intense apocalyptic plot going on from episode 6 onward, but more than that, I was very impressed by the art and animation. Obviously there are some signs of budget in the animation, but that doesn't stop Yuasa from employing his unique and creative style. There's obviously some bias here because this art style is way up my alley and personally is perfect for me. The soundtrack is also impressive and it feels very modern, emphasizing the more modern take on the classic Devilman story. It's not perfect by any means, but god damn it, it's art. So Devilman Crybaby takes its place as my second favorite anime from 2018. Come on baby, you knew it was coming. How could I put any other anime as number 1? School Life has become one of my favorite anime shows. Come on baby, you Okay, this does not even scratch the surface of the anime that I heard was great this year. In 2018 we saw some good anime, and we saw some bad anime, and we saw some mediocre anime.
We also saw this dog with a banana.
2018 was undoubtedly a great year for both the quality of stuff coming out and for the community, and it's not showing any sign of stopping. What anime did you find really notable this year? Do you have any thoughts on the shows I listed? Do you think I'm dumb and wrong? Let me know in the whoa.
Falchion, we have returned to the original timeline thanks to your efforts. Now I can finally leave this video and return to my home, to my wife and her 5 kids.
Okay, see ya. An email. Could it be? YouTube creator support actually replied to me.
Dear Falchion, we have taken Mr. Meatman hostage. If you ever want to see him again, you must pledge never to make a shitty anime video again. We will wait only 5 seconds for a response. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, what's up guys? It's me, Knuckles. You remember me? Well, it looks like Falchion is in a bit of a pickle here. He has to save Mr. Meatman, but he has to stop making shitty anime videos. What's he gonna choose to do? Well, you better subscribe. Stay tuned and subscribe. Yeah. Oh, wait. Falchion, put down the gun.